very similar to what we've done in the past. Each of us will go over a game that we think is worthy of mention from this week in football. So I'm going to kick it to you guys first. AJ, what was the one game that you have as far as an honorable mention from week 9?
Tell you what, let's save mine for the end because it's more of a homer pick. I don't think it's that important to the league. So kick it to Kevin, and
Kevin, go right ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think mine is any better when you really think about it outside of the fact of I picked the Giants against the Las Vegas Raiders. So obviously the Raiders are coming off of a rough week with the Henry Ruggs situation. Unfortunately, obviously we all know that situation of him being released, and now he's being charged with a bunch of, criminal, whatever, I don't know the terms. But again, Vegas has been dealing with a lot of stuff between Gruden and now Ruggs, so they've had to overcome a lot of off-the-field issues in which now the Giants were able to go and capitalize, and they went out and beat Vegas at home in New York. Daniel Jones did not have the greatest game in the world in terms of totality of his statistics. He only had 110 total passing yards, but he did not turn the ball over, and he had a touchdown pass. The Giants won this game because their defense played spectacular and because they were able to run the ball consistently. Devontae Booker had 99 yards for 4.7 yards a carry. As a team, they had 149 yards. And once again, the defense was able to make it happen, and they were able to get to the quarterback of Derek Carr, in which they forced Derek to throw 2 interceptions. And, of course, at that point, when you win the turnover battle and you have a great running attack, like we've said pretty much almost every single segment, it's been significant, and it just goes to show teams that run and teams that have good defense are the teams that win games. So I feel that Vegas had a lot going on. They weren't able to really get it going offensively. New York was able to really pressure Derek and make their life hell. And again, keep the time away from Derek Carr in the offense. They were able to keep time of possession and totality away from Oakland, Vegas. Vegas was in a position to really climb in the AFC West standings. And at this point, now they sit at 5-3. And so now they really have a climb to come out of this hole because, now the Chiefs are 5-4. The Broncos are 5-4. And then, of course, everybody knows who the hell's the last team in the AFC West? Am I retarded? Am I slow?
Did you mention the Chargers?
That's the one. And then the Chargers go out and they beat Philadelphia today. So this division is really, really tight. And Vegas was in charge. So this was their way to kind of create some separation. Alas, they did not. The Giants are 3-6, and they just played upset. And again, the definition of the title of the game: upset Sunday, baby.
I don't know if you guys can see me.
I hate you,
but I'm. Yes.
No, we watched you change. We see.
Yes. Absolutely.
I was like, what's he doing back there? And then I realized he was about to talk about.
You know which team I'm talking about. Granted, I don't have the newer jerseys. I'm not really that big of a fan of them, but I gotta rock the jersey just because it's my team. And they balled out today. Not because, Mac Jones lit them up, but that defense that the Patriots had against Carolina today, it was absolutely stifling from beginning to end. And I don't know what it is with this Patriots defense when they go up against Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold is still seeing ghosts. And they have traveled from New York to Carolina just because this man had 3 interceptions against New England's defense today, 2 of which came in the red zone, and then one of them was a pick 6 by J.C. Jackson. So all in all, this Patriots defense came to play today. They were able to stifle Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. He really couldn't get into any sort of rhythm whatsoever. Granted, this was his first game coming back from injury in a couple of weeks, but you tied in the fact that the Patriots defense, they held Carolina to 6 points of offense. They held Carolina to only 240 yards of total offense. Sam Darnold was completely shook throughout most of the game. And when you stifle the run game, which is always dynamic with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, I don't think there's really anything more that you can ask for from a defensive performance than what New England was able to bring to Carolina today. Granted, when I look at the Patriots offensively, I thought offensively it was a weak performance. Mac Jones did not have his best game throughout his rookie season so far in this one. He was relatively inefficient. He had an interception. He also got strip sacked. This was a game where they really couldn't get much offensively going. But in the key moments where they needed a drive from that offense, they were able to get it. I really thought one of the biggest drives that they had in the game was at the end of the second quarter. This is coming off of a Stephon Gilmore interception. And before the end of the first half, they were able to march down the field, score a touchdown with Hunter Henry with about 30 some odd seconds to go in the second quarter. And then it's like I said, the defense was the main factor for New England winning this game today. And I mean, look, this New England defense, when they hit their strides, this is a very good defense. I don't know if I would consider it like a top 5 defense in the league, but I think I could possibly look at this team as like a top 10 defense when they're really on their A game here. Now, granted, they were playing against Carolina, not the most impressive team. Carolina was coming into this game 4-4. Same with New England in this one. But, this is really kind of one of those performances when you look at this team. I think this is just what New England is going to be comprised of this year. It's going to be a ground and pound type of attack on the run game with the offense. Mac is going to be relatively safe with his passes. And I think the defense is really going to have to lead the way here just because, that offense with Mac Jones, they're still kind of going through growing pains just because he's still getting comfortable with what he's doing in the NFL in his first year. So all in all, though, I thought New England's defense came to play today. They had an outstanding performance against Carolina, and they're my honorable mention of Week 9. So, AJ, I'll kick it to you from here on out.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the 2 most important teams in the NFL. Obviously, the Dolphins and the Texans. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to talk about that. But I do want to talk about this Kansas City Green Bay game. So obviously, Aaron Rodgers was out this week due to testing positive for COVID. So Love was in the game. And surprisingly, the Chiefs only won by 6, 13-7. Now, and I think the Chiefs are in trouble. I just watching the game, they're struggling on offense. 13 points. Granted, this Green Bay defense isn't atrocious. All right, they have their games where they play pretty well, but I don't think they're a feared defense by any means. So for the Chiefs to only put up 13 on the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers was a bit surprising to me. Mahomes only threw for 166 yards and 1 touchdown. I don't know what to think of the Chiefs right now. That defense is terrible. I'm going to be honest with you, man. If they keep playing like this, I don't know if they make the playoffs. I don't know if the Chiefs make the playoffs this year, because they're getting a little more consistent on the ground, which is something that they lacked last year. With Clyde out, Darrell Williams has picked up the slack, and he had 70 yards rushing this game. But that offensive line is not protecting Patrick. He's having to get out of the pocket to force throws down the field, and there's only so much that talent can do. I don't think football is one of those games where the best player always impacts the game in a way that forces his team to win. It's usually the best team that wins. And right now the Chiefs are not usually the best team on the field.